Hi, I'm Josh with LynkSpyder. I want to take the opportunity to thank you guys for your interest in LynkSpyder. As we approach the spring baseball and softball season, I kind of wanted to do an overview of a few things. We generally do reviews on cameras and equipment and things like that. But I think what I wanted to do today is to give you a brief overview of LynkSpyder. One, if you don't know who we are, and two, our website, some of the things that you can find on our website and some of our social media sites. So if you don't know us, LynkSpyder is a chain link fence camera mount, mainly centered around baseball and softball, but it's used for tennis and other sports where a fence might obscure your view. The idea when I built this in 2013 was something that could get the camera up into the fence so that the fence didn't obscure the shot, but just as importantly, so that the camera can be held in place without being knocked out of position. When, say, the fence gets rattled with a ball or a bat or something like that. But the other thing that was really important to me when I designed this is that I needed something that worked on any kind of fence. As we were traveling all around the country, we found that there were fences with smaller meshes, there were square type fences, and there were fences that were bowed up pretty bad. And so what I needed a device that was very, very rugged. Ours is stainless steel, it's laser cut. Very, very rugged, and has expansion and adjustments so that no matter what the fence design, it'll work, and you won't have to bring all kinds of fancy little doodads. At the time, I was a photographer, and I had a 5-gallon bucket full of C-clamps and ball mounts and tripods and all kinds of things, and I would rush to the field, and I would go through my bucket, and I would look at that fence, and I would figure out what I needed, and to get that all set up, and hopefully got the camera set up in time before the game actually started. So that got pretty old pretty quick, and obviously there were some setups that we couldn't run because of that. And so that's what led me to design LynkSpyder. So the idea is that you can walk up to the fence, loosen a couple of wing knobs on the adjustment, slap it on the fence, get it secure in place, and then adjust it ever so slightly so that you can get the exact shot that you want and walk away and not have to mess with it. That's LynkSpyder. All right, so that was 2013. The design went through a couple of different prototypes, but for the most part, we hit it. We hit the design we wanted in about 2014, and while we've added a few things over the year as add-ons, the basic design has pretty well been proven itself. Okay, so we're going on 2024 right now. That's year 11. And so what I thought I'd do is kind of give you an overview of the website and some things on that. And so let's do this. Let's go right here. All right, so on the LynkSpyder, the first thing that you'll see is this little scrolling doodad here that has what we think are the basic things that you would want to look at any given time. The very first one that shows up is LynkSpyder. That's the standard LynkSpyder. You can kind of flip through them by clicking this little button. The next item is the recommended devices, the netting, and then I think it goes back to LynkSpyder. So you can click on this one. This one, again, right here, this one takes you to the basic LynkSpyder. This is the standard product that we sell. And then we'll talk about here in a minute how you would place an order and what you might want to add on these add-ons. Okay? Again, the next thing, the recommended devices is something that we've been trying to do for you guys since we started. We don't want to tell you what hardware to use, but we try to test anything that is viable, anything that we have used, and most importantly, anything that we've used that we just do not recommend. We're going to tell you that. There are certain pieces of hardware out there that are unstable, that we don't trust. There's a couple of offshore companies that are producing products that you have to put in your social media information. And quite honestly, we just don't feel comfortable doing that. And so there's a couple of those that we don't recommend. There's a couple older pieces of hardware, like from GoPro, the GoPro Hero 6. When the Hero 6 came out, GoPro designed their graphic processor in-house. That was the first model that came out with that graphic processor. And it needed a lot of work. And it took several versions before that finally was stable. And of course, with GoPro coming out with updates to their hardware about every year now, if something hasn't been fixed within about 2 versions, it's going to get left behind. And the Hero 6 got left behind. Since that time, GoPro has made products that have gotten substantially better, and that issue doesn't exist. But again, when we find a piece of hardware that doesn't work, we're going to let you know that. Okay, so a couple of those are, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom here, you'll see that the Hero 10 Mini we do not recommend, and the Hero 6 Black we do not recommend. The 6, we told you why earlier. The Hero 10 Mini, it was a product that we were really looking forward to. Several years ago, GoPro came out with a small form factor. I can't think of the name of it right now. A small form factor device that was really light, really small, really easy to mount on the fence. And we had high hopes for that with some newer hardware. But unfortunately, one of the things that you have to recognize with GoPro is that they pack a lot of stuff in a small space, and so heat can be a big issue. And one of the things that we do to mitigate those heat issues is we remove the battery and use external power that gets that heat away from the camera. Unfortunately, the Hero 10 Mini has an embedded battery that you can't remove, and so heat is an issue that you just can't work around. And as such, we don't recommend it. So scrolling back up here at the top, we try to break this down between recording and streaming, and recording or streaming. Prior to the Hero 11, GoPro did have some streaming capability, I think dating all the way back to the Hero 7. But until the Hero 11, they did not allow the field of view to be adjusted. So you were only stuck with that super wide field of view when you streamed, and it oftentimes got fence in the shot. But more importantly, it pushed the action back so far because it was too wide of a shot. After the Hero 11 was released, they came out with a firmware update that fixed that. They gave you the option to use, I think, down to the linear field of view, so the narrow doesn't have the fisheye effect, and that fixed that issue. The Hero 12 came out with that natively, so out of the box, that also is a streaming device. We're going to do another video where we talk about the reality. While something can be used for some of these things that we recommend, we'll have some other videos that tells you why or why not you would want to do that. Streaming is a tricky thing. Streaming is very dependent upon the service that you have. And so at this point, our recommendations, which we'll go into a little bit more detail on the actual website itself. For streaming, if you don't have very good service, we are still of the mind that the smartphone is probably your best option for streaming. But for recording, the Hero 12 is probably the best GoPro that they have come out with. Obviously, you would expect their hardware to get incrementally better every year, and the Hero 12 has done that. They've managed a lot of their heat-related issues. In fact, we've got a test going on right now. It is the Hero 12 Black is in our test chamber, and in our test chamber, we set up heat. In this particular case, we're doing 120 degrees Fahrenheit. We hope that your kids would never play in 120 degree weather, but we do this to simulate very hot sun conditions. And so 120 degrees is about our max test. It's one of the last tests that we do on a camera because some devices just flat won't handle 120 degrees and they'll cook, and we don't want to ruin the device before we get all of our testing complete. So we're near the end of our testing with the GoPro Hero 12 Black. This is the only GoPro that has ever made it. Looks like we're at 2 hours and 13 minutes. It's the only GoPro that has ever made it past the 2 hour mark at 120 degrees. That 2 hour mark for 120 degrees was previously set by the Mevo Start, which is a camera that does do streaming, and we recommend it very cautiously for streaming. But the Logitech Mevo is not a rugged camera. It has a very fragile base. We sell a replacement base for it, but it has a very fragile base, and if you take a fence impact, that camera can break. So we have a hard time recommending devices that have not been ruggedized, which is why we really lean to the GoPro products, because they're a rugged camera. They're designed to handle these kinds of impacts. But anyhow, the test that's going on right now, 2 hours and 14 minutes, we take temperature probes on the inside and on the outside of the camera so that we can capture how the camera is doing over time. If the camera was to fail, we capture the video of the screenshot that you can see right there so that we know the point in time that it actually did fail. And so then we sort of use that to compare to other cameras. Again, the GoPro Hero 12 seems to be doing quite well, and we've reflected that on our recommendation. Okay, so going back to the web page, let's go back to the main store. Actually, let's do one more thing. Also, under our recommendations, I'm trying to get my mouse here. We show the setup that we recommend, and we don't have, because the Hero 12 still is new. It just came out in October of last year. We just have a basic setup shot. We don't have a setup shot showing, say, for example, let's go back to the 11 here, showing some of the other doodads that we recommend. So, for instance, on this Hero 11, it shows a Tool Boss bag, an anchor battery, the side door on the GoPro that allows the USB-C battery, or USB-C cable to be plugged in. And if you scroll all the way down, you can see that we have basic setup information for this particular camera. We show you the cards that we recommend, the pass-through door that I was just fumbling through a while ago, the battery, and the pouch. And then there's links for each one of these on where you can get them. We used to keep stock of some of this stuff and would try to resell them, but really, we don't really want to. We want to kind of give you a suggestion on what will work. For instance, these batteries, we like the anchor batteries. They work really, really well, but for the most part, USB batteries are USB batteries. So if you have one, feel free to use that one. Okay? All right, so going back home, the next thing that I will show you is the store page. If you click on the store pull down, the standard bracket, which we showed you a while ago, is right here. But one of the other things that we do are customization. We do all of our laser engraving in-house. Laser engraving on stainless steel is a process of painting it with a material that is heat sensitive. When the laser hits that material, it embeds it into the stainless steel so it can't be scratched off. It's very, very strong. And then whatever does not get engraved gets washed off and you're left with a blackened image. So we have 3 engraving options. The basic option is basically just ball stitches with a jersey number or initials. We can do up to 2 characters inside here. And when you go to place your order, you'll just enter those 2 digits, 1 or 2 digits over here. And then when we get the order, we'll have that information and we'll turn that around. Generally, we can turn most custom orders around in 1 to 2 days. These simpler jersey orders, we can usually do same day or next day. We do customization in the evening in our shop, and it would ship the next day. Some of the more elaborate things like this banner style, you will send us the actual image, and we'll analyze that image. Some images require some pretty extensive manipulation, and so there may be a delay there. But when we get the order, we'll check it out immediately, and we'll reach out and let you know if we think there's any problems. If it is a black and white vector image, if it is it's like just solid black markings like you can see on here, we can turn those around really easy because they don't require any editing. But think of custom laser engraving kind of like the old black and white newspapers where you had black dots, the different sizes of the dots, and the sort of the array of the dots is what determined the shading. And that's kind of what we have to do here. So if there's multiple colors, we have to convert that to a grayscale, and we have to manipulate those colors and such. All right, so that's customization. Now let's talk about the actual bracket itself. So the Hero 12 was the first camera, as we mentioned, that had the tripod mount built in, the 1/4 20 threaded tripod mount. So as such, we've shown this on our page without the actual tripod mount, but we do recommend it still. The tripod mount allows the camera to be tilted fore and aft, and so if the fence is bent and the bracket sits like this, your camera is going to shoot up unless you have the ability to tilt. If you have to mount it very, very high, say at night, we recommend mounting very high so that you can tilt the camera down and keep the field lights out of the shot. That gets rid of some starbursts and such. Then you'll want that. So if you needed that, and you don't have one, if you already have a tripod mount for your GoPro, certainly you don't need it. But let's say you needed that. All you do is you just click on this add-on that you'd need. Okay, some of the other things, a fastener replacement kit is a bag of every single fastener. It's like a backup bag of every fastener that comes with the standard LynkSpyder. That's very, very handy if you're like me and you get to the field and you're unhooking some things and you lose a screw, you lose a nut. That bag of replacement parts is very handy. If you're one of those very organized people that don't ever lose anything, you may not need that. That's not me. Okay? The RetiCAM smartphone clamp, and which I can show you here in a little bit on the setup page, is exactly what it says. It's a screw type clamp that will hold your smartphone. It'll hold, I believe, up to 3 1/4 inches wide. It'll hold the largest iPhone that came out this last year. It will not hold a tablet. We don't really recommend mounting tablets to the fence. Maybe back up. Very few tablets are ruggedized to handle mounting on the fence. Tablets are very thin. They have even thinner displays, and because of the size, if they flex at all, the screen can break. The digitizer on that tablet can break, and in most cases, they're expensive to repair or they're irreparable. So as a result, we really don't recommend a tablet mounting on the fence. So this RetiCAM smartphone clamp will handle the largest cell phones that are available. It'll also hold a pocket radar device, and so we recommend that. Along with that, we recommend this SmallRig magic arm, and the magic arm mounts between the RetiCAM device or any other device that you wanted to mount and our Slyder bar to allow tilt and adjustment to get the device a little bit closer to the fence. So typically when we recommend the smartphone clamp, we also suggest this magic arm as well. This Husky Slyder is a larger slider. So if you look at our standard product, this guy right here that mounts to our main plate is what we call a Slyder. That allows the device to be tilted and slid this way and up and down. So those 3 axes allow you to align the camera and level it so that you're looking straight through the fence. The other thing that it has is a slot where the camera mounts itself, so it goes forward and back, and that gets your lens close enough through the fence to keep fence out of the shot, but not so close that it might get hit with a ball. So having that fore and aft adjustment is very, very important. So the Husky mount is very similar to this, only it's a larger version, and its design is intended to hold multiple devices. It's got multiple mounting points. It's got a little bit more beef to it so that it can handle the extra weight. So if you're only going to mount one device, you probably don't need the Husky Slyder. The adapter add-on was sort of the initial go of that. Back when we first started in 2013, there were a lot of folks that were still using some traditional camcorders, and so traditional camcorders are a little bit deeper than a GoPro, and so this allows for a device that has about 3 1/4 inches from the end of the lens to the tripod mount. If you need to move, if that camera's a little bit bigger and you need to move it back from the fence a little bit, that adapter add-on will work for you. The other thing that's actually really handy, and we've got a video out there that shows you how to do this, you can use that adapter add-on to take your hat and drop it on that adapter add-on and use that as a shade for your camera. So as far as heat mitigation goes, sun hitting the camera is probably the biggest issue. Whether you're using a smartphone, a GoPro, a Mevo, any of that stuff, the sun hitting your device generates more temperature than what the ambient or what the device can generate on its own. And so there's a lot of folks that make a lot of these mounts that go on top that shade the camera. And certainly you can go that route, but it's in most cases it's overkill, and in some cases it actually does more harm than what it's worth. A metal device that radiates heat will radiate that heat towards your camera too. So that's why we don't sell a shade, because in our opinion it probably is no more beneficial than a hat. If you take this hat and you lay it over your camera, it does a couple of things. One, it's a cloth material. Cloth material doesn't radiate heat like metal does. The other thing it does is the top part of this hat creates this cavity that allows air to flow around your camera, and it sort of acts like a dome around it, so it covers it from all sides, but it still allows that air to flow around it so that it doesn't overheat. So we may come out with a shade at some point. There's a lot of options out there. Some folks are using some metal things that go on top. Some folks are using those security camera domes, and that's all well and good. But until we find something that works better than a hat, that's exactly what we're going to stick with. And so the adapter add-on it's a good way. I probably wouldn't recommend buying the adapter add-on if that's all you're going to use it for. But if you have it as an option, it's a very good option. Lastly, the net cap. The net cap, if you look at our standard product, we have this, what we call this security window right here. And this security window is used when your fence can't absorb the impact. And in most cases, that's not chain link fence. In most cases, that's netting. But we've also mounted on some very thin, I used to call pig fence. It's a wire fence, it's square. And if the ball hits that, the wire will absorb. And so if the fence can't handle the impact, then we recommend mounting the camera behind this security window. So you'll flip your camera upside down, you'll mount the camera there, and that way our main plate can offer you a bit of protection. So what the net cap does is it snaps in there, and when you're mounting on a net, that piece of rubber can hold the net and keep it from walking in front of that. All right, so if you want more information about that particular one, we're going to go back to the home page. We're going to go over to netting, and a couple of things on this page right here. It's going to tell you how to do some setup for net backstops. It is very important that you don't take a metal piece of hardware and put it on netting, because metal on net it can cut the net. And in fact, there's a lot of fields that over the years that have said no mounting on fences, on netting, because of that. And it really is unfortunate, because our product will not cut the net if it's set up properly. And in this video, we tell you what we recommend, a product called Plasti-Dip, and that will get the claws set up and ready to go for a net mount. So if you scroll down a little bit more, if you watch this video, it will tell you how to mount your net cap. Flip over your LynkSpyder. And what you want to do is you want this security window to land in this groove right here. What I found the best is to get one of the longest sides started. So just kind of set that in there like that, and then slowly walk around the shape of it until the entire lip sits in place. If you find anything on this lip to be kind of out of shape, it's because it's not fully seated, and when that happens, just kind of push around the edges and it will be in place. And when it's seated like that, it really cannot be pulled out without releasing this lip. Okay. To mount it, first thing you want to do is to line this up with one of the mesh openings and get all of that mesh around that lip, and then it's not going to move around. And then at this point, you would put all of your claws in place. Your camera would be mounted, moved up, and looking through. And that way, when the net moves around or there's an impact nearby, nothing is going to disturb this net to get in front of your lens. Okay, to remove, just simply pull away from that. If you need to mount on chain link fence and you find you don't want to use that, just take it off by pushing on one side, pushing it down, and it will fall out. This is a thermoplastic material, so it's very pliable, it's very durable, it's very, very strong. I suppose you could tear it, but it would take quite a bit of effort. It will certainly take an impact. But that is the net cap. It snaps in the security window, and then when you mount it on the fence, the netting goes around that, and it keeps the net from walking in front of the lens. And that way, as the fence moves around, you're always getting that clear shot. Again, that was always our goal from the start, is to always make sure that you've got that shot, that you don't get home and realize that there was something obscuring the lens the whole game, or the lens was pointed up to the sky and you missed the game. The idea is to mount this product on the fence, hit the start button, and walk away and let it run. Okay? All right, so the last thing that I want to show you on the store is the replacement parts. Replacement parts are all of the individual pieces that we sell. In most cases, they are replacements of the main portions of the main product that you got. I mentioned earlier the Mevo Start replacement base. The Mevo Start is a decent streaming camera. It came out, I believe, in 2020, and I'm just going to say Logitech is far past due of coming out with an update. It has a 1080p sensor for streaming. 1080p is right at the bare end of sufficient, and the reason for that is in most cases you will need to crop zoom to get the shot that you want. And when you take 1080p and you crop zoom, you are digitally zooming. You are losing quality. And that's another reason why we've had a hard time recommending the Mevo Start, because that sensor is just right on the bare end. If you mount it to the fence and your shot is exactly what you want, it does a fair job. It handles heat pretty well. It's a little deeper than what we would like. We like the GoPro products because they're nice and compact and they mount really close to the fence, and that keeps everything really stable. But the biggest issue is that the stock base that comes with that camera is very, very weak. There are portions of plastic that are less than 1/16 of an inch thick, and if that camera takes a direct hit, it's going to break. It's not about is it possible. It will absolutely break. And so seeing that GoPro hadn't changed that over a couple of years ago, we came out with the Mevo Start replacement base, and we use our industrial 3D printer. I don't know if you can see, it is right. Oop, wrong hand. It was right there. And this 3D printer has the capability of imbibing carbon fiber inside of the filament, and it makes for a really strong device. And so it has a steel insert. The steel insert is hex shaped so that it can't twist, and it's solid and it's rugged, and it comes with the security Torx bit to have everything that you need to replace it. So some folks will buy this with the LynkSpyder just to proactively replace that base. And then, of course, a lot of folks come back to us and buy it after they've replaced the base. One of the benefits to buying it before we replace the base, before it breaks, if it breaks and you're mounted up on the fence and your camera hits the concrete, it's possible that impact could actually destroy your camera. So replacing it in advance reduces that risk. That's entirely up to you. We have a couple of them. We mount them with and without the replacement base, and they work the same either way. Okay, so that was on the replacement parts. I hit the wrong button. That was on the replacement parts. Has everything that we've talked about. A couple of other options on replacement parts. If you don't want to buy the full fastener replacement kit, we do have a thumb nut kit that has just thumb nuts. There's 5 of them. We have the slider bar that you can get. Tripod mount fasteners. That's a tricky little doodad. So the tripod mount fasteners are mounted temporarily at the top center of the main plate when you order a LynkSpyder. And the tripod mount fasteners are a set screw, a nut, and a washer, as you see on this screen. And some folks will call us and they'll say, hey, I don't have any way of mounting my tripod mount or my camera, and it's because they didn't see that we temporarily mount it in the top center of the main plate. And so we walk them through that, and that takes care of that issue. But that brings up another point. One of the other things that we've got on our website is the frequently asked questions. So if you are on the main menu and you hit support and FAQ, it has all of that stuff a lot of that stuff that we've talked about right there. So tripod mount fasteners. There's a little video and a basic instruction that says, hey, at the top center are those. And then if you watch this video, it will tell you how to take those apart and do all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of other things. Hey, where can I get the battery pouch? So if you didn't see it on the setup page, this one right here will tell you everything you need to know about the battery pouches. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is actually placing an order. All right, so we're going to go standard bracket, and let's say we're going to mount a GoPro Hero 12. So we're going to click on this tripod mount because we want to have tilt, and we're going to add it to our cart, and we're going to hit view cart and checkout. This is telling us, hey, this is what you ordered. It's showing you these are the options that you added. We got to hit this little COVID shipping policy. If you want to click here, it'll tell you our shipping policy. It's everything that we do shipping wise. We're going to talk here in a little bit on when you go to place the order, what shipping we use. But in short, we use USPS and we use UPS, and you have the choice of which shipping option you want to use, okay? We're going to close that. We're going to hit yes, I understand all of that stuff, and we're going to hit checkout. All right, if you have a shop, Shopify or shop account, you can enter that email address. It will send you a code. You'll put that code in here, and then it will pre-populate all of the default settings. If you've used Shop before, it's no different than any of those. Okay. So anyhow, we're going to put our information in here. I've got some dummy information, Beverly Hills, California. I use that as a test because it's the only zip code outside of Hughesville, Missouri that I recognize. And if you're as old as me, you'll know why I remember 90210. Okay, so when you enter that information in, it gives you our shipping options, and it sort of ranks it by, well, it doesn't sort of, it ranks it by price. And like in most things in life, you get what you pay for. So it is also sorted by the timeliness, okay? The cheapest option that we have is USPS ground. That's what USPS used to call their first class. It is ground. 4 business days is an estimate. So you place your order before 11 o'clock a.m. Monday through Saturday. If it's not custom, if it doesn't have something special about it, it will ship on our noon run that day. If you place your order at 11:30 or 12, it may go out that day, but in most cases it will go out the following day. If it's custom, it's probably going to go the next day or the day after that it will ship. Okay, these things are important because if you ship, so let's say you order USPS ground on a Monday. Depending on the time of the year, you might get it by the end of the week. So if you had a tournament that following weekend, that might get it there in time. USPS priority is a little bit better. It's 2 to 3 days. Again, that's an estimate. Priority does not have guarantees. The next step is UPS ground, and this 3 business days is dependent upon where your location is. And in most of these cases, it will estimate based on the location that you've entered. Business addresses typically have a little faster turnaround. Residential addresses, oftentimes they add a day because there's additional routing that they have to accommodate. But as you continue to get down to these last 2 options, USPS Priority Express and UPS Next Day Air, these are guaranteed. UPS Second Day Air, while a pretty good shipping option in most cases, is not guaranteed. The second day option, depending on a few things, if it doesn't get there in 2 days, they may justify it with a couple of reasons, and unfortunately, we can't refund your money. USPS Priority Express is not next day. It's express. It is 1 to 2 business days. Depending on what your location codes out when we go to ship, it'll tell us whether it's 1 to 2 business days. And if it does not arrive within that coded out information, then we will refund your shipping costs. And we generally wait until your package arrives so that if something funky happened with your order, that gives us some options if we need to do something clever to get your order replaced. But in most cases, we'll just refund your shipping costs. Same goes with USPS Next Day Air. But what's really important with UPS, whether it's Second Day Air or UPS Next Day Air, UPS in most cases does not deliver to residential addresses on the weekends, so Saturdays and Sundays. So let's say you order UPS Next Day Air on a Friday, it's most likely going to show up on a Monday, and that is not refundable. They consider that in their business days, and therefore it's not considered late. Same goes with UPS Second Day Air. If it ships out on a Thursday, it will most likely arrive on a Monday. So if you order something on a Thursday and you absolutely have to have it before the weekend, I highly recommend UPS Next Day Air. A secondary to that would be USPS Priority Express, because USPS delivers on a Saturday to most addresses, and therefore you would probably have it in time. Okay, so you click on that option, you'll put in your payment information. All of these options, once you put in there, it's going to calculate it's going to calculate shipping. And if you are in a state where we have a financial nexus, We do not in California. California is pretty flexible on their state tax nexus. So if we're shipping to California, it's not going to charge sales tax. That's on you to take care of on your own. But if you're in any of the other, I think 15 states that we are required to pay sales tax on, it will show that as well. If we have discount codes, which we generally don't, you would enter that here. And then you place your order, and then you will get a confirmation of your order. And again, if you're used to placing orders on the internet, none of this stuff should be outlandish to you. But what's really critical is this email address that you enter right here. If that is incorrect, you're not going to get a notification. We're not going to know that you don't get a notification, and you may not see the information on your order. Every time we do an update, when we receive your order, you're going to get a confirmation that your order was received. When we go to generate the label, you will get a notification that your package has shipped. And if you get that notification, it will ship within 24 hours. Again, if it's before 11 o'clock Central AM, it will ship that day. If not, it will ship the following day at our noon run. Okay? So let's go back here. We've talked to you about the home page. If you scroll down, it gives you basic information about LynkSpyder and why you want to choose us. Hopefully you've seen from this video why you would want to choose us. We've been around a very long time. When I designed LynkSpyder, I wasn't trying to get into the chain link fence camera mount business. There wasn't a product available. I was tired of breaking cameras, and I was tired of not enjoying my kids' games. And so I designed this. I spent a lot of time, a lot of resources refining this product, and we feel like it's the best thing that you can buy. It's certainly the most rugged device that you can mount. It's certainly probably the one that can take a hit better than just about anything. We think a lot of it. I think a lot of it. My family, who also works for LynkSpyder, thinks a lot of it. And we work hard to make sure that we provide you a good product. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're on all the social media sites, LynkSpyder. You can email me, josh@LynkSpyder.com. If you go to our website, you can click on the chat button. Mouse. You click on the chat button. If we've got guys that have the business phone around, and it's usually on mine, we'll generally try to respond within a few minutes. Obviously, as ball seasons approach and as certain days of the week, we know which days are more critical than others. We watch that even closer so that we don't cause you guys any delays. Okay? That's LynkSpyder. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out. We hope that this answered all your questions, but if not, reach out. We'll do the best we can to get back to you. Thanks a lot.